And joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line from PhillyVoice.com, talking all things Phillies, Evan Macey joins the show. What's up, Evan? How are you?
What's going on, Mark? I love that it didn't rain. It didn't destroy my house out there. It was supposed to be hell on earth, and it's beautiful out. So,
yeah, whenever the weather people always say something, I always go, okay, that might happen. It's hard for me to plan my day. I had 30 people over my house over the weekend. You know what I did? I put shelter up in my backyard. I basically built a tarp fortress for people to hang out and wouldn't get rained on. Now, obviously, that time it did rain. This time, not so much. So I was able to spend the day cleaning all that up. I want to make sure people are following you. If they're not following you on social media and whatnot, this is how you follow Evan. And here's how it came down for me. All right, Evan. I'm happy the Phillies won 3 games. I'm happy that they've certainly won 6 of their last 8. It's all nice. But then the air gets let out of the balloon a little bit in that game 4 against the Dodgers. They blew the lead in the 9th inning, and we've all seen that song sung before. And then I read this article by you, my friend, on PhillyVoice.com, and I start to feel good again because the word contenders is in the headline. And I'm thinking, ooh, could this be the right moment? Are they finally, I hate this term, but are they finally gelling? Because it all seems to be, according to your article and according to what the Phillies are doing, it all seems to finally be coming together in that lineup.
Yeah, so you're going to have average pitching, and you're going to have the occasional blown save. That just comes with the territory. There's average pitchers on this team. But the thing that I think you can rely on is they actually can hit. I know that there was a lot written on paper. This lineup is going to score runs. This lineup's going to hit homers. But we're actually seeing it. And the thing that prompted me to write the article was when I was looking at some advanced analytics, and they have like the best exit velo off the bat. They have the highest percentage of hard hit balls, and they have the highest percentage of line drives in the whole National League. And I think they have the second worst ground ball rate. And that's stuff that doesn't really depend on the defense. That's, the Phillies they're swinging the bat really good. They're seeing the pitches really good. And that's something that's more sustainable than just raw batting average and homers.
Look, after 3 home runs in 3 days for Bryce Harper and then a day off and an injection, by the way, how concerned should we be about the future of Bryce Harper? How much longer can he keep this up?
I don't know how we get so lucky in this city to have Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper at the same time. But I really kind of get those vibes. Dude has his elbow is all screwed up. He can't throw, and he's mashing the ball like an MVP. I don't know how we deserve this. Dude's getting 2 days off in a row. He absolutely needs it. He knows his body, I guess. I mean, I feel like I trust this guy to know when he can play. Hopefully Joe Girardi is pushing the right buttons with him. I guess, the fact that he's sitting on the bench for 2.5 out of the 3 hours of the game is probably beneficial to him. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's the MVP of the league. He's their Joel Embiid, and they're only going to go if they have him hitting, and he is right now.
Certainly. Now, you mentioned the average pitching. Someone who was even below average for a while there was Aaron Nola. It looks like over his last handful of starts, he's finally been able to put it back together. 7 innings, 2-run baseball in his latest start against the Dodgers there. I feel like we ask this question every year, but it's almost like, is Aaron Nola back? Is he back to a guy that can compete for a Cy Young? How confident are you he can keep that going?
I'm confident that every second or third game, he's going to be able to go 7 innings with 2 runs. I'm not confident that he's going to be able to string together 5, 6, 7 quality starts in a row. You have Zach Wheeler who can do that. And, the Phillies 10 years ago had a whole staff full of pitchers that could do that. But really, you're going to have to be comfortable with Aaron Nola having the talent to be an ace, but he's not going to be able to do it every night. And, the hitting is the ingredient that's going to make, hopefully, Aaron Nola and his inconsistency less impactful on the team. And we'll see how it goes. He's the one who's not getting the run support, oddly enough. There's no real explanation for that. But he's pitching well enough to win most of the time, so I don't know what else you could ask.
Look, I don't know what your reaction was to it, but I was dumbfounded because I've never seen a batter swing at a pitch that went between his legs, and it was almost like Odubel Herrera, I'm not mad, I'm almost impressed because I've never seen that before. What was your reaction to seeing Odubel swing over top of that 2-1 pitch that went right between his ankles?
I feel like it's kind of par for the course. I don't have crystal clear memories of Odubel Herrera throughout the years. I know that he's got that big batting stance, and he seems like he chases like a Vlad Guerrero, but not as talented, where he just thinks the pitch. I mean, that was egregious. I don't think I've seen anything like that before. I don't really know why he's on the team. I guess they need bodies at outfield. Hopefully Mickey Moniak can maybe take his job. We'll see. But for now, I don't know. Odubel's kind of the only easy out in the lineup really right now.
Now, okay, so you mentioned the name I wanted to lead to right there, Mickey Moniak, who's supposed to resume live batting practice either today, Monday, or maybe even Tuesday. What is the latest on Mickey Moniak?
Yeah, I think that he's going to have to. You see the news; it's different in baseball than other sports because he's got to start swinging, and then he has to face live hitting, and then he has to play in the minors. So it's probably going to be a couple of weeks. And the thing that also, matters in baseball more than the other sports is there's so many different players that are on and off the injured list that maybe, he gets called up sooner than he wanted to because there's a roster spot and they need him. That happens a lot. It's really anybody's guess. I think probably, I don't know, a week or two before we can seriously talk about him being in the big league, but it could change. There could be a setback. There could be another injury. Or maybe he just can't hit the ball in the minors, which I hope is not the case because really the poor guy couldn't have had worse luck getting hit in the hand at the end of spring training there.
Oh, yeah, and a great spring training to boot. Joe Girardi said before they went out to Seattle, before they, of course, went to the Dodgers and had this road trip, maybe we need to get out on the road. Sometimes baseball teams, they need that. Baseball's a funny game. You go out there and you bond on the road, I guess. Does it look like to you, and you look at 6 of 8, that's nice, but does it look like to you that this team has kind of started to figure out what makes everybody else tick?
I think that there are so many new pieces, so many new personalities in the dugout. Early on, I don't remember the exact number. Girardi had like a different batting order for like 22 straight games or something. There was really no consistency early on, and I think that really, when you're a veteran and you're used to having a specific role, I think that it kind of gets you off your game. I mean, these guys, you see them in the batter's box, they like unwrap their batting glove the exact correct amount of times. It's like a guy before he hits a putt. It's just this routine. They're all about that in baseball. And so I think that more so than going on the road, I honestly think it's just kind of getting the reps with each other and getting in the same positions, maybe not in the batting order, but kind of like the same roles on the team as far as, being the guy who's expected to drive in runs, to get on base, and the pitchers as well. The starters really suffered from the spring training being shorter, and they're kind of more reliable now this time through the line, through the pitching order, which is, as the season goes on, everybody's kind of rounding into their form and getting comfortable.
When it comes to this team closing out games, and you're mentioning, hey, look, the bullpen's going to blow leads. It's going to happen. Every team does it. Hopefully the Phillies can get away from more blown saves, but just as a precaution, if it's not Corey Knebel as their as closer, who would be the guy? Who would be the next guy up? Who would be the guy to take over that role? Who do you think would be the next option for Joe Girardi?
It's a revolving door. You have Sir Anthony Dominguez, who I was hopeful could be their closer, and he's shown flashes this season, but he's also given up some big hits in key situations. They brought in the other 2 veterans in Familia and Hand. My guess is that it's going to be one of those 4 throughout the season. They have some left-handed pitching there too, and I think that a smart manager is probably going to not look at the save as like this be-all end-all stat and just put in the right pitcher for the matchup. I mean, that's how I would manage it. You have these talented guys at the end of the game, and I think that that's the recipe for success, is for him to. I mean, there's no more pitcher hitting. He has a designated hitter. There's something that managers have to do. So why don't you pull the right lever on these relievers at the end of games, and maybe find, putting in a lefty against a lefty when a lefty's leading off, and being able to give a guy a hook when you have this other guy with closing experience. I think there's a lot of opportunity with the pitchers they have, but I don't think they're going to have a bona fide closer at all.
Now, Joe Girardi's in the last year of his contract, and you've talked about pushing those right buttons. You talked about the different lineups and all that. So the term lame duck applies right now. What do you think it's going to take for Joe Girardi, even before the season's out, if at all possible, for him to get a contract extension? Is it playoffs or bust for him, or is it just being, again, another competitive team that comes a little bit short of the playoffs?
I would normally say playoffs or bust. That's the logical explanation. But I don't really understand coaching hires and firings in any pro sport at all. I just don't.
Okay. I can see why. Yeah, okay.
The Doug Peterson one was weird. I don't know if I completely understand that, to go a little bit off topic. And then you look at Doc Rivers, who I might consider firing. But, the Sixers front office is saying he's absolutely 100% coming back. Right. With our full support. So I don't know. I don't know what goes into making those decisions. I don't know what alternatives are out there that would be better than Joe Girardi. I mean, he does have quite the track record. He's not really my favorite guy to talk to. He's kind of boring, and I don't know if he's the best in-game manager. But what are the alternatives? Some other retread guy who has a World Series 10 years ago that might be marginally better. So playoffs would make sense, but I wouldn't put anything past the Phillies keeping him around for a lack of a better idea.
Wow. Yeah, no, as far as you don't know what goes into it, I feel like every time we talk about firing somebody, it's always like, oh, is Doc Rivers out there missing corner threes? I don't think so. It's like somebody says that. Was Joe Girardi the guy out there blowing saves? No. Like, it's never the manager's fault. It's never all the manager's fault, but when has that ever mattered? That's always my response to that. It's they're not going to fire the team and then build around the manager, but I get what you're saying. The word contenders, to go back to that word in the headline of your story there on phillyvoice.com, which everyone, Phillies fans, check this out. Are you confident that this Phillies team, to use that word again, confidence, do you think that this Phillies team will be a playoff team by the end of the season?
I don't think they're better than the Mets, and I don't think that they're better than the real contenders in the West, in the NL West. But there's 6 playoff teams in the NL, and the Phillies have an above-average pitching staff, and they have a bullpen that's better than the last 2 years, and they have the best lineup they've had by far. And in previous years, lesser lineups have come a few games within the playoffs. So based on that logic, I feel like if they won 3 more games in like 2 of the last 3 seasons, they would have made the playoffs. So I think, yes, this is a baseball team that's 3 or 4 wins better than the ones in the past few years. By that logic, I think they can make the playoffs and get hot at the right time. If Bryce Harper plays in September like he did last September, if Zach Wheeler is able to be, the guy that wins pitches 1-run 8-inning games every time he's out there, they have the talent and I don't know. It's desperate. I'm the guy. I went to college in 2008. I was in Center City with people pouring champagne on each other, and the good times ended. And so maybe
that was you. I was there too. Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't even remember what my answer was, but I think that this is the best Phillies team that we've had since like the post World Series era, and I think that there's an expanded playoff field, and I think if they continue to lead the league in exit velocity off the bat, this is a team that should make the playoffs. So I will give a non-confident yes to your question.
Let me go back to something, because I wanted to ask a baseball writer this, because my feeling on something, every time like a new stat or analytic comes out there, like an exit velocity or whatever it might be, I'm always like wowed by it, like, oh wow, they're measuring that now. How about that? And then it's like I'll talk to somebody else and it'll change my philosophy a little bit more in terms of exit velocity. I was watching the game with an older relative of mine, and he goes, what the hell is exit velocity? This person's like in their 70s, okay? And I go, exit velocity is like how hard they hit the ball left at a fast rate, like it, exit velocity. It's what it sounds like. And he goes, oh, so you mean like good wood? And I was like, damn it, yes. Duh! Like, yes, that's all it is. It's good wood. So let me ask, why should I care about exit velo in baseball?
I mean, you have the tried and true stats, home runs, RBI, batting average, ERA, all that stuff. And that tells you a lot. But I think baseball is unique because of its long season, and you can really tell a lot from the large sample sizes. So the fact that the Phillies are hitting the ball harder than any other team in the National League has to mean something. That is a relevant statistic. I think that the harder you're hitting the ball, the more you're giving yourself a chance to get a hit. I would equate it in basketball to having good looks, to having open jump shots or layups. Is the same as hitting a ball really, really hard. because it's either, less likely to find someone's glove or more likely to result in an error or more likely to leave the ballpark. So that's like a key one that I look at. And the other one that I mentioned in the article is line drives, really for the same reason. The Phillies are hitting more line drives than any other National League team. If you hit a ground ball, that's an easier play. It's going to roll on the ground and you can pick it up and throw it to first base. If it's a fly ball, in contrast to a line drive, you can get under it. It's an easy play. A fast outfielder can line up, but a line drive is just a bang, bang play. So, the measurements of the opportunity to get hits is there. It's not just like they're hitting bloop singles and getting lucky. So, like, those are the things that make me confident about this offense. The trends are
Gotcha. I'll tell you this much. When they show me the exit velocity on a home run, I'm like, it's over the fence. I don't care. Unless it's like the upper deck shot, those monster drives, whatever. That's the only thing I'll look at, and I'll be like, oh, holy, what was the exit velo on that? One more thing about your article here. I didn't realize this, but reading your article, the Phillies had one of the toughest schedules to start out the season. And we'll look at the next 10 games real quick right here. That's a nice stretch of games right there as well. But they, to this point, have had one of the toughest schedules in all baseball, and it's not getting much easier here with the Padres and the Dodgers again.
No, it's really unlucky. A lot of it, they had some games canceled at the beginning of the year, although I think that was the Astros, which are not easier, so you can't blame that. Logic would suggest it's going to get easier at some point, but the teams you just flashed on the screen are teams that are going to probably be in the playoffs. I guess they had the Dodgers number, so if you're going to have the Dodgers again, this is a good time to have them because, your players know what they just faced in their pitching and maybe you're in their heads a little bit, so I like that. Padres are really good all across the board, and then the Braves have had a pretty slow start, and they don't have Freddie Freeman anymore, and it's a division opponent, so they're going to play him 18 or 19 times. It's just the order of these games here. And that's why I feel like they're going to be treading 500 baseball, and people aren't going to be that gung-ho about them. But then at some point, they're going to hit the easy part of the schedule, and they're going to be able to pack some wins together and get above 500 and maybe get back into the NL East race.
Yeah. Okay. So two things just remind. Oh no, go ahead. Finish your statement. I'm sorry.
No, it's like adding a narrative to it. Like you watch the exit results for an election, and you're like, oh, this person's ahead with 20% of the votes left. It's the same thing with the
yeah, right.
They've played a tougher part of their schedule, so eventually they're going to play an easier part of their schedule, and it's going to even out. So it's just a snapshot in time, but not all the baseball teams are playing the same competition.
The only thought I was going to say is, whenever you face that schedule, that's where the Marlins are on it, and then the Marlins kick the Phillies' ass. But on the other side of that is, hey, if we could be the Marlins to the Dodgers, I'm a happy man. That'll be a nice thing for the Phillies down the stretch.
Yeah, it's particularly sweet just because you get a lot of confidence from beating a team. The Dodgers are really good. They spend a ton of money on players that household names, people would know, they're household names. It's not like, the Padres, name me 5 Padres, but you could probably name me 5 Dodgers because they're just, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and these guys that everybody knows. So they're a really good team. You have to have some confidence from beating them at home.
Certainly. Phillies fans, give this man a follow. Evan Macey, PhillyVoice.com, giving you all things right there regarding the Phils. Also, Temple proud, ladies and gentlemen. Evan Macey as well. Here's the story one more time. Give a little boost going into this stretch of games that the Phillies have, or really stretch of games that they're continuing here with some tough opponents. Evan Macey, PhillyVoice.com. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, Farzy. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Evan Macey joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line.